find anything more about his shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, he practiced today, so I mean, his comment, you know, they're both kind of. I said, how you feeling? He said, well, they're both kind of sore, but I mean, he was. Of course, we don't do a ton of hitting, but he was good to go.
So it was the other one. He didn't re-aggravate.
I don't know if it's, I didn't ask him that. He just said both of them. So I didn't. I mean, he just said both. I said, how's your shoulder? He said they're both kind of sore, but he was. I actually think he actually made the comment to his coach that he wanted to get back in the game Saturday, but where it was and how it was, you know, we just didn't stick him back in. So I would expect him to give his best shot this week, and you know, he doesn't look limited. Short-term practice point this time of year, you're not overly beating each other up anyway. You know, it's more about schematics and trying to figure out how to line up and make plays. So he'll get. I'll be shocked if he doesn't practice every day, get through the week. We'll know a little bit more tomorrow as we go through, and I would expect him to play.
Chris Atkins and Mick Mincer. I know Mick was back in
the They were both practicing today and running around. Chris said, you know, look full go again. So you get out there and really, you know, cutting, breaking. But he'll be in the mix, and with some of the injuries, it'd be good to have him back and help special teams. Donnell played some last week for sure. He's back in the mix, and you know, again, mix going. But you know, the combativeness of the practices right now versus throwing your body around. So it'd be a different deal come game time. But they both practiced today, and didn't practice in a farce way. I mean, they were, you know, it was normal. You know, again, Monday's not the hardest practice, but they weren't limited in their work. So.
It's a first-year coach, a guy that hasn't been around here. I mean, does the Buckhead game feel like a rivalry for you, or is that just something that you have? Is basically by name only for you?
No, I mean, since I've been here, it's, you know, I mean, it's what, you know, everyone here talks about, and I've been very, and not every school to me is lucky enough to maybe have a rival. It's great that we, you know, in our situation we have one, and I think that's one of the unique things of sports is when you are blessed with that opportunity. And you know, I thoroughly have always, it's, you know, I didn't go to the school, or yes, it's first year, but you know, when you're a part of a family, you embrace the culture and the thought process of what's going on. So to me, I mean, they're all critical games. You know, I don't get in the thought process that, hey, they have a chance to be a bolt to ruining their season or all that. This is our rival game. It's a big game. You want to win this game. And to me, each game is separate. Each game is important. But it is, you know, going to be a great opportunity for us to go out and do our best and do what we can to win a game. And it'd be great to win the rival game.
Do you use the bucket as any kind of motivation for, like, this is something you guys still could win?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why, I mean, you know, each week you're playing. I mean, last week we had a chance in, quote, you know, the Spittoon game, which we, of course, weren't close at. But that's, you know, we talked about it last week. But ultimately, it's still going to come back to execution. And it's more about, you know, again, our play and our preparation and us. The reward of this game is you win the rival, and there's quote, a trophy. It's a trophy game, and that's neat and nice. But I sometimes, I don't know if you are playing for that trophy, but you're really the opportunity to play against a rival and beat that person is always a special moment in sports. You know, these guys won it last year. I think the guys that have been here 4 years have won 2 of the last 4. So, you know, they've had some competitive battles. We've struggled this year. Each year's different. Just because you've done well in the past or poor in the past doesn't have anything to do with this one. But again, we know it's the rival. We know they're playing well. We know it's a big game, and we look forward to having a great week. To me, the great thing of the rival is the week. A week of practice, a week of prep, and have a little bit more balanced steps. We'll see how the week goes for these guys.
Was there more balance in the step today?
We talked about it. It seemed to be. I think even after the game, they kind of talked about, you know, we didn't have a good outing, have a good showing last time, and we weren't like immediately. We didn't talk about flushing that second, but I think as players, they're pretty resilient, and you know, we do have a fair amount of Indiana flavor to our football team, where these guys have grown up watching these teams compete in every sport. And so again, we look forward to the opportunity and know they're playing well, and it'll be a tough one.
What you're getting from Barnett, he obviously started last game and seemed to play pretty well for the most part.
Yeah, and it was good to see. I mean, because you know, he kind of got beat up because he wasn't playing well. Michael Hunter just had a slight little nagging pull. Didn't think he was quite to, you know, full speed, and kind of, you know, expressed that prior to the game. Didn't know how fast he would be. So it was nice to see Lawrence. He did have a couple mistakes that, you know, one kind of got us on a touchdown. He kind of busted the coverage on the long pass early, but other than that, you know, he really flew around. I mean, one great play, I know, hurdling their fullback, and I mean, it's one of the more combative effort plays of the year. But to me, it's I think it's a microcosm of maybe our season, our team. Here's a guy that's kind of playing, but then not playing well, or not playing up to his ability, you think, and you go with a young guy, and maybe he doesn't like it, doesn't practice well, but also when he gets his shot, now he's got something to prove. Well, to me, you got something to prove every day, and you got something to prove every game. And I thought he played with a greater energy, and greater passion than we had seen, and it wasn't surprising. It was just great to see. The real deal is our inability as coaches to connect and get that out of our kids more often. So again, we'll keep moving with that. But it's good to see LB step up and have a nice outing. He needs to do it again this week.
Was that where you're just seeing a little lack of intensity from him, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
in the last couple of weeks?
Well, it wasn't a couple weeks, just a couple games. Just missed tackles and just not playing as well as he's capable, as well as we need. And that being said, Michael was not that far off, so you kind of start going with him. I mean, the comment you guys would say, well, we're playing young guys, or we didn't recruit the old guys. Well, if that's the case, why has Dre Muhammad got 9 catches, or why is Max Devon starting? He's actually played better than Ted. It's not a put down Ted. Max has played better. Why has Andrew McDonald and Pagan's guys? They've played better. I mean, Donnell and some of the guys got hurt. We're trying to win every game. And, yeah, it'd be nice to be good down the road, but that's not fair to these seniors. Our whole thing from the get-go, and we've not done a good job connecting and doing as good as coaches as we have to. Our team's got to play better, but as coaches, I have to do a better job of reaching our guys and getting LB to play up to that ability, which is great to see. But now can we repeat that and repeat that consistently week after week and year after year as a sophomore, because he's got 2 more years in the game to go. And so, but it was nice to see Lawrence do that. But that's a little bit of our team. Again, when we don't handle success real well, and we don't handle setbacks or failures real well. And personally, as an offense, defense, or as a team. So, my whole thing when Trey played it wasn't Trey. Like, what's Ed and Dusty going to do? I want to see what they're about, because as a competitor, that's what you want. Now, what are you guys going to do? You guys get back on the field. You get back in the mix. You get your job back. You keep competing. That makes the team better. And that's just we're trying to reach our guys. Whereas a coach, we haven't connected on how to do that on a daily basis. And that's what we're working at. We're trying to work positively at it. And again, it'd be great for these seniors. It's their last go. I always think senior week's a big deal. I'm kind of a Groundhog Day. I like every day to be the same. I don't like next year's. I don't like, I like practice. I like, and so, if I'm a senior, I mean, it's your last week. It needs to be a special week and your best week. And then it's a rival week, Purdue, the bucket game. There's all kinds of uniqueness that should make this one of the best weeks of your life as an athlete. And that's what we're trying to embrace and encourage.
You have 5 or 6, guys who have, haven't exhausted their eligibility, but are going to take senior. This is their senior week. They're going to, take senior day this year. In lieu of that, or in keeping with that, how big a recruiting class are you looking to bring in here?
I mean, our numbers are limited to 27.
Okay.
That's just our max numbers.
Okay.
And so, we just had conversations about a month ago with a couple guys, to all of them, hey, doesn't matter. I mean, I went to Will Maddie, who's a guy that's played a lot, been kind of a captain earlier. Or you went to Larry Black, and each guy, do you want your Adam Raposo was a 3rd-year guy, but I went to every 4th-year guy. Do you want your 5th year? And if you do, great. If not, you've earned the right to be a senior. And to me, there's a way that a senior ends his career, and he's earned that. And there's no difference between a 4th-year guy redshirt and the guy that played. That 4th-year guy, has eligibility, but he's one of the leaders of your team. He's he's invested a great deal in our kids, and we might have struggled. Our guys have worked hard. They've invested greatly, and that's why I keep getting frustrated. Me and my inability to get us to play better and connect. And so that being said, we just ask guys, what do you? And initially, I think some guys were thinking hey, there's a problem. No, there's no problem. What do you want? We want you back. If you want to come back, if you want to be a senior, we want senior week and the end of your career to be a positive experience, and that you get the opportunity to go out as I think a senior should go out, with due respect. And that's how we handle that. And that was each kid, whether it be he, his family, his future. Some guys are graduating. Right. And just ready for the next chapter of what they want to do. But that doesn't increase our spaces. Our spaces, you can sign 25 in a year. Because we signed 23 last year, we can add 2. We can add 2. That gets us to 27. So then any other spaces would go to a Colin Rorick or an Alex Webb or someone that's walked on. That's what all those spaces are. So those guys are doing what they feel is best, and we want what they want. And that's how we
One of those guys, though, is your starting punter. Do you have any thoughts on the next step for that position?
Well, we've got a couple of the guys here. I do think with our needs, we won't. We'll work it as we always do with the walk-on route initially, and we got Mitchell Voss in town. Nick Freeland coming off his injury was doing some punting prior to getting hurt, and we've got a couple of the guys that we'll throw in there. But we'll look at the high school route, but just on scholarship needs, we'll work hard with our offense and defensive needs, and unless he's a defensive tackle that's a great punter, or an offensive left tackle that's a great punter, That would be the only.
I don't recall any of those.
Please do that. Please find one of those.
Another Ray guy out there.
Unless we stumble across a left tackle, it's a punter. I mean, and that's not sliding the punting position.
Yeah.
I do think the guys we have in-house are serviceable and comparable to the punting we have, but we'll see if we can find, the all-field means to maybe, incorporate. Now, again, in-house, if a guy earns the job in-house, he could be rewarded a scholarship with the extras, as Adam Pines was this past year, as has happened to Nick Freeland. But from the outside, you can't go get a walk-on and put in a walk-on. That's an initial scholarship guy. Yeah. So, we're just limited to 27 newcomers by our max total as we move forward. That's just the limitations of NCAA and where we're at today.
Okay.
Anything else, Ben? Appreciate you. See y'all tomorrow.